Now we set up here under PS providers that this is the provider. That's not its actual technical name, but and then these are the drives within the provider. Now we want to be able to look at individual drives or groups of drives within the providers. So we can use the get PSDrive command. However, it's going to require us to tell it, well, what providers do you want drives for? And so we have to use this parameter here, PS provider, and then tell it, well, which provider do we want? So let's experiment a little bit. Let's first of all look at the providers. Get PS provider, and we can see what they are, and here's the actual names of those providers. So let's say that I want to look at my D drive. How would I go about that? Well, first of all, I have to discover, well, which provider is it in? And it would probably be in my file system provider. Now, in fact, I can see that. Here's C, D, I, E, and so on. So it's in my file system provider. So let's do this. Get PSDrive, and can we just name it? Let's see. File system. Nope, we got an error message. Let's see if we can discover why. Cannot find the drive. A drive with the name file system does not exist. Okay, we didn't tell it the provider that this is a provider. So let's redo that command. And we will say get PSDrive PS provider file system. And there we go. Now I can see all of the drives that I have in my file system provider, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, and N. So these are all my drives on this particular computer. So can I just call up one of those drives then? Let's go back here, get PSDrive, PS provider file system, D. And let's see what happens. We'll put D colon. Nope, that doesn't exist. Well, what's going on? Well, let's look at the actual name. The name of it is just D, no colon. So can I just put a D there? Yes, I can. Now, actually, there is, of course, as with most of these things, a parameter that should go with. If I really wanted to do it properly, I would do name D. But it turns out that name is a positional parameter, and because it's a positional parameter, I don't have to use it, and so I can just get D right there. So that's how I can see the various drives, PS drives. All right, so let's take a look at this one down here. We have 5 hives in here, but we only see 2 hives when we look for the PS providers. Get PS provider registry. Oh, I didn't look at the drives. Get PS drive, PS provider registry. I only see 2 drives inside this, but I know that I have 5 hives. So can I add one? Well, yes, I can, and I've given you a picture of how you might do that. I have here new PS drive name, HKU, root HK users, in order to create a new PS drive. Now let's try that out. Let's go new PS drive, and let's refer back to here so we get it right. I have to give it the name, and I want the name to be HKU, so I will call it that. Now I can call it anything I want, but HKU makes sense to me. And then the root will be HK users, HKey underscore users, excuse me. So the root HKey users. And well, I left something out of this. It wants to know what PS provider this is going to come from, and I didn't give it that. And because PS provider is a required parameter, it's going to ask me to supply it. And we haven't seen this before. We haven't really looked at this. But anytime you leave out a required parameter, you will be prompted to go ahead and give it the name of that. I could have put it right in here. So rather than just providing the registry parameter here, let me rewrite this in such a way to add that. So let's go back here and add PSDrive registry, name HKU, and then where the root is, and let's try this command and see if it works. Well, it looks like I wrote that incorrectly. I put PSDrive there instead of PSProvider because I got here that there's no parameter called PSDrive. So again, reading these error messages tells me what I did wrong. So get used to reading these error messages. Now let's try this out, and sure enough, I now have it. So now let's take a look at get PSDrive, PSProvider registry, and now I have all three of them.